Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I would like to just share a burden from my own heart. It's called The Lesson of the Winter Wheat. Sometime in October of 2020, I was crying out to the Lord and asking Him, God, what's happening? What's going on? I was not as concerned about just America or myself, but basically I was praying and interceding for the different schools that we have in more than 33 different countries, where we have orphanages and churches and Bible colleges, and just saying, and I was getting these reports from all over the world, and I'm just crying out to God, interceding. Tell me what's going on. Show me, please. Help me to understand, that I might give a word of encouragement to those that we're affiliated with and walking with. And so I interceded and was praying for, for several days. And one day I was just kind of, I was just praying before the Lord, and the Lord, it seemed like the Holy Spirit brought up the illustration of the winter wheat. And He said, remember, take a lesson, is what He said, take a lesson from the winter wheat. And I thought to myself, I don't know what that means, Lord. I don't know exactly what that means. But I remembered when I lived in Montana and eastern Kansas, and there's a lot of wheat farming and in different places, especially Montana, and maybe even here in eastern Washington, there would be winter wheat. And I understood what that meant. I thought I did anyway. And so as I was considering what He's trying to say to me, I realized that in the winter wheat, that the seed of the winter wheat is planted in the autumn or the fall of the year. And then it sits there and it begins to grow. And just as it begins to spring up, the winter weather becomes cold and snowy. Miserable, actually. And the plants, they seem like they are frozen and just so under the weather, if you want to take it that way. The plant becomes dormant under the snow until the warmth of the spring thaw. Then it resumes its growth, and actually, as the warming of the sun comes up, it rebounds and develops quickly. And it usually produces a greater yield of harvest than the spring wheat. In fact, the quality of the winter wheat has more protein, I understand, and more durability, and sometimes it's 2 or 3 times the yield of the wheat that's planted in the spring. So I'm sitting there saying, Lord, help me to understand what You're saying. And so I began to just consider 2020, just locally, just here locally in my own county. And I remember on December 30th of 2019, a resolution was passed at our local Napa Vine City Council to begin opening all of the city council meetings with prayer in the name of Jesus of Nazareth. And we were going to invite all of the different churches and leaders and Christians throughout our community to come and open up with invocation of this public meetings. And as we started the first of the year, on January 1st, my wife and I joined with others, and we did a sunrise prayer ministry up at our state capitol. And it was wonderful. We live streamed some of that, and it was just tremendous. And then we began on January 8th. We opened up the winter quarter of the Kingdom Exploration at Centralia College. And we were teaching week by week at the college, live streaming that, and just having a wonderful time. On February 7th, my wife and I, we began to attend the county commissioners meetings, where the county commissioners would get together once a month with all of the city mayors, the mayors of all the cities of our county. And on February 20th, it marked the first time that we began to reach out to other city council members to consider the resolution to begin their meetings with prayer. We sent some information to Payel and to Winlock and other cities in the area, and began to build relationships and begin to extend that with a vision that by the end of 2020 we would have each and every one of the city councils of our county opening their meetings in prayer. We also approached the county commissioners. I wanted to have the county commissioners and city council members meeting also opening with prayer. A prayer of blessing, a prayer of invocation. And so things were progressing rather well. It was really exciting. We had met with the Southwest Washington County Fair people, and we had actually signed contracts or made contracts for 3 different events. One of them was between April 8th and April 12th, between the Passover and the Resurrection Day. We were going to hold evangelistic healing miracle events with instruction, and we were going to do that down there at the community fair, community hall at the fairgrounds. And again, we went down, we live streamed that. And then we made some arrangements to have 3 nights of evangelistic healing miracle meetings at the grandstands of the fairgrounds on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And we were going to rent 4 booths, 3 of them inside of buildings and 1 right out on the main thoroughfare, where we were going to offer prayer for healing and miracles. And right next to the booth that was offering tarot card readings and fortune telling. And then March 13th, a national emergency was declared. Schools were closed in Washington State. Groups were limited to 50 people. And 3 days later, that limit was down to 10 people. And churches began to be closed, meetings began sealed down, and it became a challenging time. I remember my wife and I went in on the last public meeting of the county commissioners. And we asked them, I approached them, I said, will you please pass a resolution requesting the churches of this county to declare a 21-day Daniel fast for the county, for you, for wisdom, and ask them to partner with you. Well, they chose not to do that. And it wasn't long before the lockdown was complete, and the coronavirus and other difficulties and challenges and traumatic events were taking place throughout our whole country. And we continued through the year doing live streams from different sites, and we'd go out in the public, and it was a very challenging time. When we came to the fair that was scheduled for August 18th to the 23rd was canceled. All the fairs on the West Coast were canceled. All the fairs of Washington State were canceled. So many of the public events were canceled. No baseball, no graduation, on and on. And so I brought all this up to the Lord, and then one of the worst things was during a prayer meeting, somebody gave me the use of some tents where we could go erect these tents and then be able to go out in the public and preach healing miracle events with signs, wonders, and everything necessary to confirm the exclusivity and the sufficiency of the blood of Jesus of Nazareth as the Christ of God and the Lamb of God. Now, I met with city people. I went and tried to get permits to use fields that everything had been closed down. I met with individuals. I met with some shopping centers. My wife and I, we went down and talked to the managers of some shopping centers. We wanted to use these big open parking lots. And again and again and again we were rejected for fear of this COVID. One person, we had one site we were going to do right on the highway. It would have been incredible. And the person finally, they said, no, we're afraid of the Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all the other people that were rioting down in Portland and up in Seattle. They were coming up and down the highway there, and they were causing some problems right here in our own community. And they were afraid. And so we understood. And so finally we just put it all down. We laid it all down. I said, God, why? Why? Why did everything get shut down with all these things? What should I do? And again the Lord said, learn the lesson of the winter wheat. Learn the lesson of the winter wheat. He said, when it appears that the seed is under the snow, under cover, dormant, maybe you think it's even dying, not one seed that you have planted will die, but every seed will come up in the springtime, and there will be a multiplication of the seeds in the harvest, and the harvest will be greater in the springtime than it would be had you done it last year. Like the winter wheat, the harvest will be 3 times as much. And the Lord said to me that I was to encourage you, whether you are in South Africa, whether you are in Pakistan or India, whether you are in Nigeria or Sierra Leone, whether you're here in the United States or whether you're in someplace in Europe, you may look at what you have planted and what you have sown, and you might say, it looks dead. But it's not, my friend. Learn the lesson of the winter wheat. We are in a winter season. We are in a winter season. And much of what we have planted underneath the snow is putting down roots. It's not growing up, but it's growing down. And some of the relationships that you have established in the past season, they will spring forth when it warms, and they will be fruitful. So I want to encourage you today, as I have been encouraged by the Holy Spirit, that we would learn a lesson from the winter wheat. Thank you, and may the Lord bless you.